Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC, everybody. I'm Ken, and today we're looking at some Nexx Racing upgrade products for the RC28. Let's get into it. Alrighty, guys. Let's go ahead and swap some of this stuff over. What we've got left here are our steering knuckles and axle shafts for the front, our front strut bar to help kind of hold the front suspension arms, kind of helps strengthen up this plastic piece here. And then we have this rear setup, the side damper spring set, which should be interesting. It's going to totally change the way the car handles. That's why I didn't want to spend too much time trying to tune it with this lightweight chassis and figure that out. I'd rather get everything installed, and then we can figure it out from there and tune it. Try to figure out why it's pushing so hard. Again, we'll probably need to swap tires. It's almost always tires, and we're not very good with tire selection yet. I still just kind of suck at it. But I figured I wanted to show you the product. And you know, people looking for this kind of stuff, you'll be able to tune it up for your track and your racing style and whatnot. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this stuff installed. Should be pretty quick and simple, at least on these two front pieces. This might be a little bit more complicated, so we'll look at that last. So when I first saw this front reinforcement, I hadn't had the car yet, and I was concerned that it would be different for each different upper arm piece that you use, depending on your camber and your caster. So basically, this guy just goes up on front here, but all of these pieces, all the holes and the distance here between the mounts are all equal. They're all the same, so you can swap this between any of the different front ends that you want, and it'll bolt right up. Team Associated was smart to make sure that all their little distances here, from here to here, were the same no matter what settings it was. So that's super cool, and this is super simple. We're just going to drop it on. It's 4 screws. We replace these 2 bulkhead screws here with the longer screws, and then these 2 small ones will just go up in the A-arm. I do want to point out on these screws, it's kind of annoying. They are 1.5 millimeter hexes versus the 1.3 or 0.50 hexes that are on the Team Associated. I assume that's just because that's the hardware Nexx could get, but it would have been nice if they kept it the same, the 1.3 or 0.50 hardware, just that way you don't have to change out drivers while you're working on it. And then for up here, we just went ahead and reused the screws that were in there. They're the same length as what Nexx included. At least very close. I'm pretty sure they're the same length. Either way, we're reusing them. Might as well. And this will just really help stiffen this up. So if you're concerned about any flex being in these, this will get rid of all that. All right, let's go ahead and do the axles. Well, that was kind of stupid of me. We had to pull off the upper plate to be able to get the knuckles off. What am I doing? That's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right, so we're just going to pull everything off of here and throw it on our aluminum here. Now with these new axle shafts, you definitely want to use some Loctite. We're using some here, and just make sure you get it nice and snug. I used to like to use these flush cuts on these. A crappy pair of flush cuts, not my good ones. You don't want to damage the cutters, but there you go. Also, I wanted to show, look at the length of the shaft difference. They shortened up the thread spacing here to help prevent you from getting caught. Oh, I should have left one of the wheels on here, but these shafts stick out really far, even with the nut, and so they're easy to get caught on the foam walls and whatnot, depending on your wheel offset or your body. So these little shorter shafts are a little bit better in that regard, in that they don't stick up quite as far. Okay, see that? There you go. Just a little less. And again, even your ball joint, everything, you're definitely going to want to make sure you're putting Loctite on it all. And there are 2 different mounting positions here for that ball. I'm going to go ahead and use this inner as that's the closest to what we had here. If I stack this on top of here, make sure these axles are straight, that inner hole is the closer to stock position. If you want to move it out, you can move it out, and that'll change the way your steering dynamics are. Yeah, should be cool. All right, then we just need to get our little grub screw out, and again, we will Loctite that as well for our main shaft here. And there we are, all assembled. I did reuse the grub screw. It does come with these little button heads though, the M2x3 button heads. If you wanted to use those, they will screw into the back here, but you can also just reuse your grub screw. Just again, make sure you Loctite it, and if you do Loctite it, don't put that grub screw back into your stock without cleaning it, because you don't want that Loctite getting into your plastic and breaking it down. All right, there we go. Front end all upgraded. These shafts, they are slightly longer, like I said before. So just a little bit longer on the shaft here and a little shorter on the threading, but overall shorter. But what that lets you do is it lets you tighten your nut all the way down without it hitting onto the bearing. So they're just far enough out to where you can, the nut will sit on the shaft itself, not the bearing, which is super nice. Because then you can, like I said, tighten it down real snug. There's no play, but you still have your freedom of movement there, and you're able to get nice and tight. Whereas with the stock ones, if you over tighten, you bind up on your bearing and you have to back the nut off just a little bit, and you can never get them tight, which means that sometimes you lose a nut. There is a slight difference between the two, but again, these are nice and free, and they're super tight. I am digging that. Now we got to look at this guy here. All right, we got everything laid out here. We got our side links that are going to be the double pivot. We have a new rear brace, or rear perch, I guess. It's going to replace this guy here, that our side dampers, our body mounts, and then our new spring perch is going to be on. You can see there's an extra hole here, right there, and that's where our little spring perch is going to mount on. That's these guys here. And then we have our three different springs. We have a soft, medium, and hard. The blue, which I believe is this one, there's a little bit of blue paint on there. That's soft. No paint is medium. And then this one's got a little bit of yellow paint on there. That yellow paint is the hard. Got our grub screws for our spring perches. We have our extra little balls here, our pivot balls, as well as some O-rings for the pivot balls, and our set of screws. So I wish they included at least a basic breakdown sheet, like an exploded view, just for newer people. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure it out, but again, just kind of knowing the way things go, just a basic breakdown of it built would be nice. But we're going to go ahead and do it now, so it shouldn't be too hard. We just got to swap all this over to our new brace here, and then get our springs on. Super simple. We just remove these two screws, pop our two side dampers, and this guy will move up, and we can kind of get it out of the way here. We need to clean our side dampers here and probably re-grease them. But that'll give us access to our rear deck. Rear deck just comes out with these two screws here, and then we swap over our pivot balls for our dampers and our body mounts, and then add in our grub screws and spring perches. So there's our assembled rear brace. We got one of our grub screws going through, uses the 0.9 millimeter, and then our spring perch. We're going to throw an O-ring on that spring perch, and that'll help hold the spring on to the perch itself. But before we do, I just want to talk about this. These are fairly loose on the screw, so you may want to put just a tiny dab of super glue, CA glue, whatever, on the end of the grub screw, because the idea here is that we'll screw this guy in just a little bit, right? Maybe halfway. You can kind of see how deep it is in there. Halfway in, and then it would be super glued there, and then you can adjust by just screwing this in and out. Okay, and that'll kind of preload your spring a little bit to help adjust your tweak. Now, if you don't glue this, it's very likely that this will change when it starts moving. The spring moving in and out will cause this thing to rotate. It could eventually just fall off. It could change its adjustment all the way back, and then you're going to have your tweak all messed up. So I'd recommend just a tiny dab of super glue on there to help hold that screw in, and that'll help just kind of keep it all secure, and just try to make sure they're even. That way you can kind of more visually tell how much you've screwed in from the top side of your preload. Really, it's going to come down to just adjusting your tweak and doing it that way till it's right. It doesn't really matter if these are equal or not, as long as your tweak is centered. So one of the things about the stock setup is that you don't have to mess with tweak too much, but for people that do want that granularity in tuning, this is kind of a must-have. All right, well, these little guys are drying. We will go ahead and remove our side links here. So we have our 2 screws here and then our ball joint. Now we might be able to reuse this ball joint. I'll measure it. I'll see. So if we don't need to pull it out, I'd rather not. Like the ball joint's basically 3.5, and these guys, yeah, 3.5. So we should be good to just reuse this rear ball joint. Oh yeah, perfect. So that'll be good, and then we can put these screws in there to hold that in. I believe we're going to reuse our stock screw here, these little countersunk screws. We use a little bit of Loctite. Oh, we're almost out. Need to add a little more to our cap here. And let's see. We'll be using the back hole here. Nice thing about these ball joints is that they have a 1.5 hex in them. So you can just go like this versus having to use some pliers or flush cuts to hold it and make it tight. Nice. Should be good there. And then we can pop this guy on like so. Yeah, full length setup now. Oh no, we missed our little ball joint there. It's okay, we gotta pull out this other side. And I just remembered there's 2 different size countersunk screws on the rear of that link. Use the shorter one to go into your ball joint. That way you'll be able to maintain some grip with your 1.5 millimeter, because otherwise the long one will start to push through. Oh, we need some Loctite. The long one will push through and start pushing your 1.5 driver out. And that's not ideal, because then you can't get it very tight. So just go ahead and drop this guy on here. And there we go. Get it nice and snug. Now when you're putting your little M14 screws in, make sure you have these facing the right direction. There's a side that's just an open hole, and then it goes into a threaded side. So you don't thread it through this side and this side, you just push it through this side and it threads into this side. And then just snug it up just enough to where it just kind of tightens it up just a little bit so the ball joint doesn't pop off and everything still moves nice and freely. Okay. If you feel like it's a little too tight, you can just go ahead and back it off just a quarter turn just to kind of free it up a little bit. Okay. Again, you don't need a ton of movement. This rear pod doesn't actually move a lot, but you just want to make sure you got plenty of freedom. It's not like binding or anything like that. Okay. Yeah, see, like this one's backwards, so we'll go ahead and flip it around. And then our screw will just drop in, and there you go. Again, you're not tightening these up in the traditional sense. These are just enough to give it the tiniest bit of pressure. Again, if you feel like it's a little tight, don't hesitate to loosen it up, because you don't want any kind of binding on these at all. There we go, that's a little better. And just one last time, again, you should be able to move these super easily. See that? Just barely touching them and they flop around. Okay. let's get that rear done. We're going to use the medium springs, I believe, which again, they should be the black ones. So we'll go ahead and get our O-ring on there. Just kind of wrap it on there. And then our medium springs, just kind of get them to twist around onto there. And there we go. And we will, again, we'll be able to adjust it with our 0.9 on the grub screw, basically pulling it in and out to adjust our tweak on the back. Okay. And we'll go ahead and just get it all back on there now. Should go this way. Yep. 2 screws. And then our center spring perch and side dampers. Super easy, guys. Super easy. All right. We like to show our successes and our failures. We failed. Look at this. Apparently the grub screws should go all the way almost flush with our carbon here, which gives you just minimal amount of adjustment. But yeah, they're sitting up and now our dampers are hitting on those grub screws. I did not think about that. You could always put some spacers under here if you wanted to have a little bit more adjustability there, but we are going to have to get those all the way down and a lot more flush without bringing down our whole perch. So I got to get it deeper into the perch itself. My bad. All right, you can see here, we've got it nice and flush with the carbon. Tiny bit of space there just in case you want to back it out. And it's pretty much flush with the perch as well. So you got just a little bit of space there if you wanted to back it out. And again, I don't know how far you're going to be able to back it out before you start to hit on the that damper there. But yeah, just try to make sure that you are equal on both sides when it comes to making them flush. And flush here, give yourself like a 1/4 millimeter there, and you can just write it there. And if you need to back it out a tiny, you can. And if you want to go deeper, you can go deeper by about a 1/2 millimeter. So you can adjust that side tweak. Beautiful. There we go. You can see our little side springs in there. And again, now we just need to adjust our tweak. I'm not going to go through all that here, but it's just a matter of making sure that everything is nice and flat and level. And we will pop off our side dampers to get access to our grub screws, and then you can just adjust those accordingly to make sure you get proper flat chassis and flat tweak on that rear end. But it feels pretty good. I think this is going to be awesome. The only concern I have is still my battery here is still rubbing. Maybe that's one of the issues we're having. I need to get some spacers underneath the front and back of our center shock here. So that's irrelevant to what we did. I mean, making this change definitely didn't do that. It's been rubbing ever since we built it. Because we're using kind of a thick battery. I could also go with a thinner battery. But yeah, let me get some spacers underneath here. All right, I think we're good to go now. Got just the tiniest bit of spacer in here. The tiniest bit of spacer here. Raise it up just a little bit. I think it just gives us a little bit extra clearance there. It was just barely touching before, and only under like extreme articulation was it touching. So just wanted to make sure we weren't going to be hitting it all. Definitely feels good. All right, we just got to get it on the track now. See how it feels now.
Start of the race.
All right, guys, here we go. We're going to have our buddy Marcus run this for us while I record, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
5 minutes. We have Super Sock be named Josh. Al, Ken, Dave.
Yeah, we doing it right. Tiny car, but it bite. 52 at it lights. Yeah, we run it all night. Next parts on the frame, that precision insane. Tuned up chassis like weight in the game. Brushless hard, yeah, the torque on flame. RC28R, we play hard, no shame. At the track we fly, no fakes. Tight turns, clean burns, no brakes. Small scale, big dreams we create. 5280, that's the place, yeah. Slick tires, grip, no slip, we zone. Out and tight, every lap we own. Servo quick, ESC home. In the pit zone, you know that's home. Tiny car, but moves like thunder. Feel so fine, make pros wonder. Every line, every curve with a hunter. Nexx Racing upgrade, pull that number. Yeah. RC28R, that's a beast in motion. Racing flow, got the purity motion. Team associated, no slow emotion. Race it once, then you know, son.
All right, so did that feel better than last time? Now we got the upgrades on the rear and the front and the new knuckles.
Feels good, yeah.
I'm sure the springs, I mean, that we changed that changes a lot.
Car feels really good.
It's a little pushy still.
I think you could use a little bit
Just more dual rate on the
rate
train. We need, I think, again, we got to work with this transmitter more to get this running right. I think the car is good. I think it's just the transmitter is kind of not quite where we want it.
RC28 is an awesome platform.
Yeah, are you liking it? He tries to borrow it all the time.
Yeah. Definitely a car I would love to pick up, and the price point's right. You know, $249 AE a product, and it feels great out of the box.
And then we got the Nexx upgrades on there, so it makes it even more tunable.
Yeah, then there's plenty, like you're saying, there's plenty.
I mean, did you see that? You didn't know that we're running the lightweight chassis on this.
So
we're that tunable lightweight chassis.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it felt great. So
awesome.
yeah, thank you for letting me run.
Well, thanks for running it.
Thank you.
Right on, dude.
It was sweet.
Well, ladies and gents, there she is. The RC28R with a ton of Nexx Racing upgrades on it. Pretty awesome. We're loving the chassis. It's super lightweight. Some people may want a heavier chassis, maybe stick with that stock chassis, but I like the tunability here if you're really looking to get in there and tune it. That front brace and those new knuckles and axles, super awesome. Definitely nice to have that durability increase on both, helps stabilize that. And that front brace here, definitely awesome. And then, of course, the rear tunability of the side springs pretty much gets you all the granularity you could need to tune your tweak and that side articulation there. Very cool. I'm glad to see some companies coming out with upgrade parts for this guy. It's an awesome platform, and Nexx Racing is definitely knocking it out of the park. I know they've got some other conversions. There's like a 102 chassis conversion and a ton of other stuff coming from Nexx, so definitely keep an eye out on that stuff. Maybe at some point we'll show it. We do have some other stuff coming from some other brands that are upgrades for this guy, and we're going to definitely check those out. I think I need to get another one of these RC28Rs. So yeah, definitely keep a lookout for that stuff. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share, and notification bell. That way you know when new videos come. It also helps support the channel a ton, and it's the best thing you can do to support the channel. That is free. It's free to click all those buttons. If you do want to support the channel in more ways, you can also become a channel member here. The channel members get a bunch of other perks. They get to see videos early before anybody else without ads. They get behind the scenes videos, just kind of candid, here's what we're doing type videos. They also have priority comment replies. I see all their comments first on the channel, and then they also have a special channel in our Discord that they can join other channel members and chat it up in there. Even if you're not a channel member, though, you can become a Discord member if you want to chat it up on Discord. We have a link down in the description. Definitely check that out. It's an awesome community, people helping each other, showing off builds, all different kinds of small scale RC. So 100%, if you want to look at joining an awesome chat community, that Discord server is amazing. So definitely check that out. Also, links to all the parts in here should be down in the description below. I might just put a link straight to the RC28 section of Nexx's site. I don't think I want to link to each part, but either way, there will be links down there if you want to check it out. Also, Direct RC should be carrying that stuff too, so you can check out Direct RC. And for those who know, they know I've got a coupon code, and you can snag that up and get a little bit of discount on there. But definitely check out all the stuff in the description. We have all kinds of links to all different kinds of communities, Facebook groups, the Discord server, tons of stuff. And you can always go to theshophobbies.com just for a listing of all the projects that we have, all the different communities we manage, and all that kind of stuff, channels and stuff like that. We don't sell anything. We're not a retailer, but I just wanted to share that. That way you can find all the stuff, all the things, affiliate links, stuff like that. Anyway, guys, thank you for hanging out. Again, that like, subscribe, share, and notification bell are huge. They're just a click for you, but they mean the world to me. And also get out there and build something awesome. Build a car, build a course, build a community. Those things are the most important thing in this hobby to keep it growing and get more people in. And then smash it, crash it, and bash it, but don't break the expensive parts. Peace.
No breaks, small scale, big dreams we create. 5280, that's the place, yeah. RC28R, that's a beast in motion. Racing flow, got the purity motion. Team associated, no slow emotion. Race it once, then you know, son.